Have you played Thronefall? It's a minimalistic combination of real-time strategy and tower defense. On the surface, the game appears to be pretty simple, yet it creates complex choices and some deep replayability. Jonas, one of the devs, describes their process to achieve this as layering complexity. Which got me thinking, how can we make games which appear simple while providing depth without appearing overly complicated? Well, I'm Andrew Chambers, and let's get stuck in. First, let's understand what we mean when we talk about minimalism and complexity. Games which are minimalistic tend to have a simple art style, maybe low polygon, like the surprisingly fun battle simulator Tabs, or Bad North, a unique take on real-time tactical roguelikes. These games generally have limited user interface on the screen, and the inputs required by the player are probably on the lower side. Complex or deep games usually have systems that you can engage with multiple times, and many of those systems intersect or interact with each other. Standout examples here might be Stardew Valley or Forager. Both games are deep and very complex with many intersecting systems, yet they too appear quite simple. So what tools can be used to combine this minimalism with complexity? Let's use Thronefall as a bit of a case study and, unwrap some of those methods and see what we can learn. Have you ever started a game and you're just super keen to just engage and explore and get all immersed, and then suddenly you're just overwhelmed with text and tutorials and information about how to even play? Many games with depth overwhelm you at the start in this way. This kind of onboarding, it just isn't fun, and it certainly doesn't come across as simple. It definitely won't appeal to a broad audience. Thronefall starts you on an empty field. There's no prompts, just a few cubes lying around. Even in the tutorial, the text instruction is practically non-existent. When players approach a cube, the structure they can build there and the cost to build it is displayed. With the press of one button, players spend their coin and the structure is built immediately with a rewarding pop. They don't display any stats about the keep, no health, no damage per second, no details about future upgrades. The decision is easy to make, so players make it. With this simple flow, Thronefall teaches you everything you need to know about how to build a base. We can break this flow down into a few key elements. Players today have been institutionalized to be curious, and that's a good thing. Lean into it. Give them hints like the cube or a sparkly crack in the wall, and trust that they'll take it to learn your mechanics. When players do explore, reward them quickly and easily, whether that be with an option to build something or maybe some hidden extra loot. If players don't feel rewarded for their curiosity, they may not continue to be curious. So the player's curiosity is presented with a possible action, which they then found easy to perform. By performing this action, the player has learned what they need to about your game mechanic, and they can repeat this easily. I'd wager they also had a lot more fun doing it this way, rather than reading some carefully crafted text. Players learn what they need to about Thronefall when it's most relevant. A great example of this is when the keep is upgraded. The choice of what option to take is presented when the upgrade is actually performed. Before this moment, players likely had no idea that a choice was even possible. Honestly, they didn't really need to know. If you want your game to be approachable, use methods like this to teach, rather than overwhelming players with text. The depth of Thronefall comes from its perks and challenge system. Players can choose perks that they can equip, thereby changing the way that their base and army plays. This adds depth, as players can customize their play experience. They can then tinker and try different combinations. If all of these combinations were displayed at the very beginning, well, it would be super overwhelming. Instead, they use something called progressive disclosure combined with a traditional experience model. The key here is that, though you can see the full potential array of perks you can earn, you can't see the details of them straight away. The Path of Exile skill tree is often used as an example of overwhelmingly complicated. Honestly, it is. However, what if they'd used progressive disclosure instead? Imagine early in the game, You would only see the entries for a few of your choices on the skill tree. The rest were locked until you got to a certain level. It likely wouldn't have felt quite as overwhelming and complicated, as the information you had early on was kind of restricted. In addition, Thronefall provides players with progression towards this disclosure, win or lose. This is especially important in this case, as failure is a very likely possibility with some of the more challenging perk and challenge combinations. This continual spreading out of depth functionality, session to session, combined with ensuring players make continual progress regardless of success or failure, is a great method for layering out complexity while also encouraging your players to replay your game. Have you ever wondered why games like Mario or Slay the Spire have world maps? Beyond serving the function of allowing players to choose what level they want to play next, or creating interesting decision moments between levels, they also establish clear long-term goals. These long-term goals serve as reference points for players to understand the value of the time they're investing session to session, and is another tool for layering complexity. Thronefall achieves this quite simply with what they call a quest system. It's actually really similar to an achievement system. Whenever players select a level to play, the pop-up that allows for the selection of perks and modifiers also shows a list of quests to complete, using a combination of those modifiers. This provides players with really clear, long-term motivations. Though Thronefall's implementation is quite simple and could probably be enhanced by tying it back into another system, it does serve the purpose of giving players a reason to continue playing. Think of this like a carrot on a stick. Without something visible at the end, some way to see that they are able to earn something greater, players may never reach much of your session-to-session progression and miss the depth you've laid out for them. So let's wrap it up. 3 tools for layering complexity. Lean into the natural curiosity of your player to teach the moment to moment, using tools like learning through action and on-demand information to retain a simple aesthetic and probably make your teaching more fun. By leveraging progressive disclosure with continual rewards for engagement, you're able to spread your complexity out over multiple sessions. Having clear extrinsic motivations like a long-term quest or achievements give players something to work towards over multiple sessions, allowing players to get to your complexity over time and digesting it along the way. So, if you like these kind of deep dives, be sure to check out my video on Enshrouded, where I dive into the shroud system that they have and what makes it such an interesting mechanic. For now though, be sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. It really does help. And I'll see you in the next one.